All right, let's dive into something that I think we can all agree is a universal struggle, making decisions. We're going to look at how to stop agonizing over choices and start making better, faster ones. Let's get into it.
You know the scene, right? You sit down, you're ready to relax, you open up your favorite streaming service, and then you scroll, and scroll, and scroll, and before you know it, 20 minutes are gone, and you just end up watching nothing at all. This isn't just about movies, though. It's a pattern that can freeze us in moments that matter way more. Well, there's actually a name for that feeling of being totally stuck. It's called analysis paralysis. It's that mental rabbit hole of what-ifs and maybes, where you think so much that you end up doing nothing. And honestly, it's one of the biggest, quietest productivity killers there is.
So, let's pull back the curtain on this feeling. Why do we get so paralyzed by choice? Let's figure out what's really going on inside our heads when we get stuck like this. Think about it. From the moment you wake up, what to wear, what to eat, which email to open first, every single one of those choices chips away at your mental energy. It's like you have a battery for decision-making, and even the tiny choices drain it, leaving you depleted by the end of the day. So why does our brain, this incredible supercomputer, get jammed so easily? Well, it turns out there are a few really powerful psychological forces that are kind of working against us. First up is decision fatigue. And yeah, it's exactly what it sounds like. Think of your ability to make good, rational choices as a muscle. The more you use it, the more tired it gets. It's why you're way more likely to give in and order junk food for dinner after a long day of meetings than you are in the morning. Your decision muscle is just worn out. Next, we've got a huge one. It's a cognitive bias called loss aversion. Our brains are basically hardwired to avoid a loss more than they want to pursue a gain. This is why you might stick with a kind of mediocre job instead of looking for a great one. The fear of losing your current stability feels so much bigger and scarier than the potential joy of finding something better. And this chart right here really drives the point home. Look at that. The pain of losing bar is literally twice as high. Psychologically, the sting of losing $20 feels twice as bad as the pleasure of finding $20 feels good. When you see it like that, it's no wonder we get so hung up on making the wrong choice. And just to make things even more complicated, there's something called the paradox of choice. You'd think more options would be great, right? More freedom. But actually, research shows the opposite is often true. The more choices we have, the more anxious we get, the more likely we are to regret our decision. It's why ordering from a menu with 5 great items feels so much better than one with 50. You see, every decision is basically a tug of war happening inside your brain. You've got the slow, careful, logical planner. That's your prefrontal cortex. It wants to weigh every pro and con. But then you've got the fast, emotional, intuitive gut. That's your limbic system. Indecision is what happens when these two are deadlocked. The trick is knowing who to listen to. For stuff you've done a million times, trust your gut. For big, new, complex decisions, you need to let the planner do its job. Okay, so that's the problem. It sounds a little bleak, I know, but the good news is we can absolutely fight back. So let's shift gears and start building our decisiveness toolkit. We're going to arm ourselves with some really practical, science-backed strategies. We're going to focus on a few core ideas that you can start using, like today. And these aren't about thinking harder. Nope, they're about thinking smarter, by giving your brain a simple, clear framework to operate in. Let's start with a brilliant one. It's a tool for shifting your perspective called the 10-10-10 rule. It's so simple. Whenever you're stuck, just ask yourself 3 questions. How will I feel about this decision in 10 minutes? How will I feel about it in 10 months? And how will I feel about it in 10 years? This little exercise is amazing at cutting through the noise of your immediate emotions and helps you see what truly matters in the long run. And here are a few other quick tools for the kit. If it's a choice in an area you know well, go with your gut. For decisions you have to make over and over, just create a rule. For example, I will not attend meetings that don't have an agenda. Done. Simplify your life with routines. Wear the same thing, eat the same breakfast, to save that precious mental energy. And for the really huge decisions, it's okay to sleep on it. That's not procrastinating, it's processing. Okay, now for the final and maybe the single most important piece of this entire puzzle. This isn't a tool or a trick, it's a fundamental shift in your mindset that can literally change everything. So researchers have found there are basically 2 kinds of decision makers. First, you have the maximizer. This person has to find the absolute single best option, no matter what. And because of that, they're constantly second-guessing themselves and feeling regret. Then you have the satisficer. This person just looks for the first option that meets their criteria, the one that's good enough. And guess who consistently reports being happier and more satisfied with their choices? Yep, the satisficer. And that brings us to the most crucial point of all. This relentless hunt for the perfect choice is often the enemy of a good one. Seriously, a good decision that you make today is almost always better than a so-called perfect decision that you never actually make. Learning to embrace good enough is the real secret to both speed and happiness. So, we've walked through the psychology of why we get stuck, and we've loaded up our toolkit with some solid strategies. Now, it's time to take all this learning and actually put it into practice. Here's the main takeaway. Becoming a more decisive person isn't about some innate talent or being smarter than everyone else. Not at all. It's about building better systems and habits for yourself. Habits that cut down the friction and let you act with confidence. It is a skill, and just like any other skill, the more you practice it, the stronger it gets. So I'm going to leave you with this question, a challenge, really. Right now, think of one thing, big or small, that you've been putting off. Maybe it's a tough email you have to send or a purchase you've been debating for weeks. Try applying the 10-10-10 rule to it right now and just see if it doesn't give you the clarity you need to finally make the call.